students. Myself, Professor Ankur. I welcome everyone for the GATE theory session on analog circuits. Today, we are going to start an important topic by the name op-amp. Let's start with first session on operational amplifier. So what is basically an operational amplifier? Operational amplifier is an integrated circuitry that is actually designed to work as a voltage amplifier. Under normal open circuit mode or open loop mode, you can say that the operational amplifier will work like a comparator. It is an integrated circuitry designed with two types of input points, non-inverting input and inverting input, a single output point defined by the term Vout or at available at pin number 6 when you talk in terms of IC741. An operational amplifier has a single output and a very high gain, which means the output signal is much higher than the input signal. So now when you look at the op-amp as a device, it was basically designed to process difference of input signals. So that's the reason there are two input points, one plus pin, which is defined as V plus, also defined as the non-inverting input pin. The other one is V minus pin or the inverting pin of the op-amp. So overall, when I take the input as VID, where the term D stands for difference, that will be the potential difference between the plus pin and the minus pin of the op-amp. The word came from the logic operational amplifier because this integrated circuitry has the capacity to perform tasks like basic operations, addition, subtraction, integration, differentiation, log, anti-log, etc. And apart from that, the same integrated circuitry can also operate as an amplifier. The most important point to understand here is either the op-amp will give you operation or it will give you amplification. It will not give you both the features in same connections. So the configuration of the circuitry will be redesigned in both the cases. The same integrated circuitry can be utilized for making it use to perform operations on signal, or it can perform the process of amplification. The typical op-amp that is being normally used under various application is IC741. It is basically an 8-pin IC. The first pin of the IC is defined as offset null. Actually, pin number 1 and pin number 5 are defined as offset null. So basically, they are used for nullifying the offset error. Pin number 2 is defined as inverting input pin. Pin number 3 is defined as non-inverting input pin. Pin number 6 will work like output pin. Pin number 7 will work like plus VCC. Pin number 4 will work like minus of VCC. The typical voltage level is going to be plus 15 and minus 15. Pin number 8 is normally no connection. So if you observe, it is basically an 8-pin integrated circuitry with two input pins, pin number 3 and pin number 2, which can be notified as V plus and V minus, and pin number 6 will work like an output pin. The right hand side figure is just a symbolic representation of the operational amplifier. Now there are various parameters of operational amplifier. One of the parameter is input offset voltage. The input offset voltage is the voltage that must be applied between the two input terminals of the op-amp to nullify the output. So overall, if you see, I want the output to be 0 when the input is actually 0. So if I want to nullify, whatever is the input I need to provide to nullify that output, that will be defined as an offset. Input offset current. It is basically defined as the algebraic difference between the currents in the inverting and the non-inverting terminal and is known as input offset current, defined as IB1 minus IB2. Again, when we don't give any input to both the pins of the op-amp, when we don't give any input to both the pins of the op-amp and we can say both the pins are actually grounded, under that situation, whatever current flows inside the pins due to impact of noises can be also defined as the input offset. So the word input offset is basically the algebraic difference between these two currents. Input bias current is basically defined as the average of the currents IB1 and IB2. So if IB is the average current flowing through the inverting and the non-inverting terminal of an op-amp, that IB can be called as the input bias current. So it is basically defined as the average of the current. Open loop gain. So open loop gain is basically defined as the output of the amplifier divided by the difference of the input. So the difference of the input will be defined as VID and the output will be defined as VO. So the gain will be defined as A, or you can say AB. So when you try to compare the requirements of an ideal operational amplifier with a practical operational amplifier, the open loop gain ideal condition should be infinite. Practically it will be around 2 into 10 raised to 5, which is very high. Input impedance should be infinite. Practically it will be 2 mega ohm. Output impedance should be 0. Practically it is 75 ohm. Input offset voltage ideally should be 0. Practically it is 2 millivolt. Input bias current ideally it should be 0. Practically it is 200 nanoampere. Bandwidth ideally should be infinite. Practically it is 1 megahertz. CMRR by definition is a ratio of differential gain by common mode gain. Differential gain is basically the gain measured for the op-amp when the two valid inputs are applied at the both the terminals and you are getting an output for that. And whenever we go for the common mode gain, that time both the pins or input pins of the op-amp will be connected to ground. That time under ideal behavior, we expect the output to be 0, but the practical output will be non-zero due to impact of noises. So that is the reason we can see that there will be some gain existing called as common mode gain. So the ratio of differential gain by common mode gain is defined as CMRR. The ideal accepted value is infinity, but the practical value will be around 90 decibel. Slew rate is basically rate of change of output with respect to time. So the ideal value should be infinite, but the practical value will come around 0.5 volt per microsecond. So these are the basic comparison parameters between the ideal op-amp and the practical op-amp 741. Now, as I've discussed in the start, that operational amplifier under open loop configuration will be working as a simple comparator. So simple comparator implies if the plus pin of the op-amp is having a higher potential compared to the minus pin, the output will be straight away positive VSAT. And if the input pin plus is less in potential with respect to the non-inverting pin or the V minus pin, in that case, the output will be minus of VSAT. So VSAT is basically the saturation value of the output. Since the op-amp is having two input category, non-inverting and inverting pin, the output produced can be either plus VSAT or it can be minus VSAT, depending on whichever is the input pin higher compared to the other respective pin. But whenever we go for operational amplifier, we want to use that IC as an amplifier, we normally go for a closed loop system which is with feedback. So whenever we talk about feedback, we are actually going for negative feedback. So negative feedback will be applied to the amplifier. So when we talk about negative feedback, the negative feedback will be given to the inverting pin of the op-amp. So that is the reason we are having two basic forms of circuitry defined as non-inverting amplifier and inverting amplifier, where you will use a resistance between the output pin and the minus pin of the op-amp to ensure that the category of feedback is negative feedback. Secondly, when I talk about the non-inverting and the inverting configuration, you can see that there will be two resistances utilized, and depending on where the input is being given, that will decide the category whether it is non-inverting or inverting. If you look at the left hand side circuitry top section, you can easily see that the feedback is given to the minus pin and the input is also given to the minus pin. So eventually it will be defined as inverting amplifier with negative feedback, and the gain of the circuitry will come as minus of RF by RI. When we talk about non-inverting amplifier, that time the feedback will be given to the inverting pin, but the input will be given to the plus pin or the non-inverting pin. So in that situation, the gain of the amplifier will be defined as 1 plus R1 by R2, where R1 works like a feedback resistor. So this is the basic logic of inverting and non-inverting amplifier. Now, if I want to use the amplifier as a summing amplifier, I can use this as a summing amplifier in this arrangement, where you can clearly see the left hand side figure lower section is a non-inverting summing amplifier, which will produce an output V out is equal to V1 plus V2. For achieving that logic, we are taking two inputs V1 and V2, and both are connected to the plus pin via the resistor R, and the inverting pin is going to have a feedback. So the output of the circuitry V out will be V1 plus V2. But when we talk about the inverting summing amplifier, so here there is one more example on the right hand side lower circuitry, where we are giving three inputs V1, V2 and V3 with same resistances R, R and R, and the feedback resistor is also R. The input is being given to the minus pin, and the output will be of the value minus of V1 plus V2 plus V3. So this is what I mean by inverting summing operational amplifier. So it is as good as a summing amplifier can be realized using any of the category, whether we talk about inverting or non-inverting. Now, the next is basically a difference amplifier or a differential amplifier. It is also called as a instrumentation amplifier using single op amp. So here we are having two input V1 and V2. They are connected to the op amp under a feedback logic. So the balancing effect is happening with respect to two R1 resistances and two R2 resistances. The output measured under this situation will give you the value R2 by R1 into V1 minus V2. So whatever inputs we give, the difference of the input will get amplified by a factor R2 by R1, and then you will get the output as V out. The next circuitry you can see here is operational amplifier as a buffer. So this is basically a non-inverting buffer. The inverting pin of the op amp is in feedback with respect to the output pin, and it is direct short circuitry, and whatever you give at the plus pin of the op amp will be available at the output. So the output will be in phase with respect to input. So this is what I mean by operational amplifier as a buffer. Buffer circuits are basically unity gain amplifier circuitries with high input impedance and low output impedance. The next circuitry we are trying to understand here is operational amplifier as an integrator. So for integration, we normally use a resistor and a capacitor. So whenever a capacitor is placed on a feedback path, and then the input is connected to the minus pin via the resistor R, such an arrangement will be defined as a simple op amp as an integrator, or you can call it as a basic integrator. We have a current equation for a capacitor which can be defined as I is equal to C dV by dt. So when I go for the current equation, I can define as V in minus V2 by R1, or R will be equal to CF d by dt of V2 minus VO, where V1 pin of the op amp is connected to ground, and V2 pin, which is the inverting pin of the op amp, which will also go to ground. It is because of concept of virtual ground. So overall, when you see, you will find the value of output as minus 1 by R1 CF integral 0 से लेके t v in dt. So this is going to be the equation of the output. So the output is basically integration of input. Hence the circuitry is called as op amp as a basic integrator. But whenever we go for the basic integrator, we modify it for practical integrator. So under practical integrator circuitry, we have additional resistance R2 to stabilize the circuitry. So under that logic, the gain of the amplifier circuitry will be minus of R2 by R1. So the magnitude of the gain will be R2 by R1, and the cutoff frequencies of the practical integrator will be defined in terms of the parameters R1, R2, and C. So we need to understand here that the practical integrator circuitry also works like a low pass filter, where the cutoff frequency is defined as 1 by R2 into C, and the maximum operating frequency will be 1 by R1 into C. This is basically in terms of the time constant values. When you take the frequency value, it will be 1 by 2 by RC. So this is the way we go for the cutoff frequencies. So if your observation is very sharp, the integrator circuitry, which is being now converted into a practical integrator, it is all because the earlier integrator was defined as an ideal integrator, was also having some drawbacks, due to which the circuitry was modified into a practical integrator circuitry. Now, when we talk about differentiator, we just need to interchange the position of resistor and capacitor in the circuitry. So when I interchange the resistor and the capacitor in the integrator circuitry, the circuit will work like a differentiator. The equation for output will be minus of RC d by dt of Vn. So output is differentiation of input, and hence the circuitry is defined as an ideal differentiator. And obviously, when we convert the ideal integrator into a practical differentiator, we are adding additional components. So on the feedback path, we are having CF and RF, and on the input path, we are having Rin and Cin. So we are getting the cutoff frequency points as 1 by Cin RF and 1 by CF Rin. So these two will work like a cutoff point. So differentiator circuits are normally defined as high pass filter. So they are actually used for processing the high frequency signal. So this is the basic logic in which op-amp can be used as an integrator, or op-amp can be used as a differentiator. Thank you.